This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. But first comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing, that Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing, that Super Bowl ring. Yeah. We in the lab room.
Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on this program. Divisional round weekend in the National Football League. The last game of the weekend, and for most of us, this was a game with the least amount of suspense. We all thought we knew what was going to occur in this game. It was a formality. This was the one that I don't think most people didn't give this game any thought. Yeah, Colts, Broncos. Oh yeah, Colts are going to lose. Broncos are moving on to the AFC Championship game. Hey, I can't lie. I wish I could come here and tell you that I told you so. Because you know I love saying I told you so, man. What's better than saying I told you so? I did tell you something, but it wasn't that the Colts were going to win this game. But first of all, let's get all of the pleasantries out of the way. 4:30 action. Number 2 seed in the AFC Conference, the Denver Broncos, at home at Mile High Stadium, hosting the number 4 seeded Indianapolis Colts, led by one Andrew Luck. And this was a game that, again, we all looked at this game. I mean, we sat, we mulled over, you know, was the New England Patriots going to be able to stave off the Baltimore Ravens? Man, that's a tough one to pick. You sat there, you really mulled over your decision as to who would win that game. The Cowboys versus the Green Bay Packers. You sat there, you wondered, is Rodgers healthy? Can the Cowboys go on the road and do it for the 9th consecutive time this season without any losses? You sat there, you went back and forth, you finally you settled in on the team. The Carolina game, you said, look, man, these two teams play each other tough. Who knows what could happen? Some turnovers could occur. The Panthers could sneak attack these guys. But you pretty much thought Seattle was going to win the game. However, you thought that there was a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. And then there was this game. Denver Broncos at home versus the Indianapolis Colts. It's funny how the playoffs work, man. I say this all the time. Just get a ticket to the dance. Just get a ticket to the dance. Doesn't matter how much you pay for the ticket, full price, half price. Just get a ticket and get in the door. Because once you do that, you wipe everything clean. Wipe the slate clean. You start over fresh and new. And the way the Indianapolis Colts finished up the season, unimpressive as unimpressive gets. I mean, they got spanked by Dallas in Week 16. They beat up a lifeless Tennessee Titans team Week 17. They should have lost in Week 15 to Cleveland. It was not an impressive finish to the season, and I was not thrilled about them moving forward into the postseason. Now, I said you're going to beat Cincinnati because that's not a really good football team in terms of the upper echelon of the league. So when you get to the postseason, teams like Cincinnati are going to be exposed. Well, they didn't have a full complement of players, and so you were able to dispose of them relatively easy. But then I said, okay, this is where the train stops. This is where we get off of the Indianapolis Colts train, and we keep chugging along with the Denver Broncos, and we get our, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, number 17 matchup, or wherever we are in the series now, volume 18, wherever we are. Everybody was expecting that. I said that was what was going to happen. I did say this. I left you with this caveat, though. And I wanted to be right about something. Hell, wasn't right about the game. Let me be right about something. And I did say this much. I said it's very, very simple. All of us have crowned the Denver Broncos the winner of this game. And I think I had one of all, and I had a lot of people give me picks, and I appreciate it. Can't wait to see how everybody did this weekend. But I think of all the people who gave me picks, I know for sure I got one Indianapolis Colt pick. I may have two. That's it. And I probably got at least 15 to 20 people who gave me picks, and only two at the most picked the Indianapolis Colts. And I didn't laugh at the guy that picked the Colts, but I was kind of like floored. I was like, man, the Colts? Really? That's a big one. Nobody was picking the Colts, man. And I said that on the preview for this game. And I also said that for everyone that thinks this is just going to be a pushover, I told you to think again. Because I told you I was unimpressed. Just as I was unimpressed with the way Indianapolis finished up the season, I wasn't impressed with what Denver did down the stretch. I told you this team did not look right since about week 9 or 10. This team has not looked the same. I'm going to tell you really where the change happened. That ass whooping they took in St. Louis, they were never the same. And you can chalk it up to trying to run the football more. You can chalk it up to Peyton Manning not being right. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. You can talk about the offensive line struggles. Look, whatever excuse you want to pin on the donkey, knock yourself out, man. Whatever excuse you want to throw out there as the reason why this offense wasn't as efficient as it has been in the past, I could care less. You throw whatever excuse you want out there. The fact of the matter is, I'm a results guy. This is a results league. And the results have not been pretty for a Broncos team. They used to score 30, 34, 35, 37 routinely. Now the team was struggling to even hit 30. And so I struggled with the fact that these guys weren't efficient. They weren't scoring in the red zone. Juice wasn't healthy. Welker wasn't involved. I struggled with the fact that this didn't look like the machine, the well-oiled machine that steamrolled their way to the Super Bowl last year and then got steamrolled. I was looking for that team to come back. And I said, after a week of rest, you're at home versus an Indianapolis Colts team that doesn't get pressure on the quarterback. I told you I love their secondary, but they don't get pressure on the quarterback. So I said, there is going to be a multitude of opportunities for Peyton Manning to pick apart this defense, because there's not going to be anybody in his face like there was in Week 16 versus Cincinnati when they lost on that Monday night where he was pressured and made mistakes. That's not going to be the case. He's going to have time. They should be able to run the football effectively, which they did in this game. He just was off. Let's just jump into the game, man. But I did tell you, I was worried about this Denver Broncos offense and that this was not a shoo-in victory because of that doubt that had crept into my mind about the Denver Broncos offense. And I'm going to tell you what my emotions were when I watched this game, and I was dead wrong. Hey, the bigger the strong. I thought I had it going on. Yo, Lou, you dead wrong. Yo, son, you dead wrong. I was dead wrong. And I'm going to tell you how wrong I was. Let's jump into this thing, though. 4-seed Colts at the 2-seed Denver Broncos. Arthur Jones' personal foul penalty gives Denver new life on their opening possession. Big mistake by Arthur Jones. Can't hit Peyton, man. These quarterbacks, and this was actually a personal foul. Sometimes they protect Brady, they protect Manning, they protect Breeze and company. This wasn't one of those, oh yeah, this is soft. He drilled him, okay? So he deserved a flag on this one. And they were going to have to punt the football. Instead, they get new life, and Peyton makes them pay. And so up the sideline, Juice runs a beautiful wheel route up the sideline, out and up. On LaRon Landry gets a step on him, and Peyton lays it out there beautifully. 32 yards down to the 2-yard line, very next play, or 2 plays later, I believe it was. Double 8, Demaryius Thomas, back of the end zone. Beautifully thrown fade route by Peyton Manning can't execute this any better than they did. Touchdown, 7-0 Denver. What did I talk about in the preview? I said I want to see Peyton Manning have more success in the red zone, throwing the football. We've seen the C.J. Anderson 3 touchdown games down the stretch. I don't want to see any more of those. Now, those are nice because I don't care how you get in the end zone, but I need this team to be balanced, and I need them to have the ability to throw it when they get in the red zone because things get tight. And that was them throwing the football. He threw it to Juice to get down there. He threw it to Double-A, Demaryius Thomas to get in. This is what I said at this point. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the Broncos. They about to run these boys into the ground, man. That's what I said after that touchdown. I said business as usual. Could I have been more wrong? No, I couldn't have been. I was absolutely dead wrong. But that was the end of the first quarter. Denver up 7-0. They're in control of this game to me because it's only a matter of time before they get in the end zone again and kind of start to distance themselves from the Colts in this game. And then something happened in the second quarter. Colts knocked the game up at 7 with a 9-play, 73-yard drive that ends in a 6-yard, boom, Heron touchdown. He had injured himself earlier in the game, injured his shoulder, left the game briefly, came back, dove in the end zone on his touchdown, re-aggravated the injury, but he never left the game. He was a warrior, and he had already said, look, man, I finally have gotten my opportunity to show what I can do in this league. I am not giving it up. So it was going to take a lot more than a shoulder injury to stop this guy from trying to be out on that field. And he had a big game. We saw him catch the football 10 times. Literally, in the first about 3-4 possessions, dude already had like 4 or 5 catches. So he's a huge part of what they do. And Trent Richardson, healthy scratch in this game. What I say, man, I'm not going down that road again because I could sit here and talk to you for the next 30, 45 minutes about that guy and the Colts' decision to spend a first-round pick on him when he wasn't worth a first-round pick the first time. We're not doing that. It's 7-7. Colts tied this game up. T.Y. Hilton huge on the drive with a couple of big catches. And we'll talk about some things I saw in the first half that had me alarmed as we get to the halftime break. But it's 7-7 in the second quarter. Jonathan Newsom with a huge strip sack fumble of Peyton Manning. This was a beautiful sack. Okay, first of all, a cute blitz. Overload on the left side. The Broncos don't slide protection correctly. They don't account for Jonathan Newsom. He comes scot-free. Hits Manning, goes for the football. And the way he hit him, I don't know if you realize this, but when I watched the telecast, he hit him in such a way that Peyton was trying to throw it. The ball spun on the ground. It was gorgeous. It was just like a guy catching the pass and then getting a first down and getting up and spinning the ball and walking away. And you get that tight camera shot where the ball just spinning and spinning and spinning. And the ball was just spinning on the ground, waiting for somebody to land on it. It was gorgeous, man. If you tried to do that 100 times, I don't think they could replicate how the ball was just spinning on the ground the way that it was. When you hit a quarterback, rarely does the ball just spin. Just spin like the planet's on an axis. It just rarely just spins. It looked like somebody just took the ball and spun it. It was gorgeous. And of course, Colts pounce on the football, recovered by Jarrell Freeman at the Denver 41-yard line. Colts are in business. 8 plays later, 3-yard Dwayne Allen touchdown. Andrew Luck rifled this football. And I mean, Dwayne Allen didn't even come out of his break. He turned around. He had to catch the football in self-defense. I mean, Andrew zinged it in there. I mean, he was literally trying to fight off Aqib Talib because Aqib Talib had his hands all over him. And as he's pushing him away to turn around, ball is right there. Beat him up, ball. Beat him up. And Dwayne's, oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. And he got the touchdown. I'm like, wow. That's trust, and that's anticipation, and that's a hell of a catch by Dwayne Allen. I know about 10 to 12 tight ends in this league that drop that football just because he got on them too quick. No way they catch that football. So heck of a concentration on the play by Dwayne Allen. Also, great play by Andrew Luck to trust his receiver, throw it with timing and accuracy, and give his guy a chance to make a play, and that he did. It's now 14-7. Colts take full advantage of the turnover. And that's what they needed to do. They needed to come in, generate turnovers. And I talked about them not being able to get pressure on the quarterback. They don't get pressure with a 4-man rush. They don't get pressure with 5. But when you bring 6 and you bring 7 guys with the secondary that you have, you can hold up on the back end, still generate pressure by bringing guys. That's what you got to do. If you can't generate it on your own, then you got to find ways to generate pressure. And that's what they did. They got to Peyton Manning, and it paid off huge dividends. They now lead 14-7 in the game. Couple of key plays on that drive. Dante Moncrief with a 24-yard catch on a 3rd down. They called a penalty on the defender on that play anyway, so even if he had not caught it, it still would have been, a 1st down anyhow. And then Aqib Talib had a holding penalty on a 3rd down that would have resulted in the Colts having to kick a field goal. Instead, he is flagged for holding, gives them a fresh set of downs, and they cashed in with the touchdowns 14-7. Indy up in this game. Adam Vinatieri, and they had talked about him so glowingly a week ago, and they talked about him being tested for, PEDs because of what he did in the game last week, kicking field goals, and he's been kicking some bombs. And he was never the biggest legged kicker in the league, but he's been kicking the football well. And so they had talked about him not missing. I call him Wine because the dude just gets better with time. He's Wine, man. And Wine steps up and misses from 44. And I was saying to myself, Denver needs something to change the face of this game. And I thought at the time when Wine missed the 44-yarder that this is exactly what they need. With 4:33 left in the 2nd quarter, this is where the game is going to change for the Denver Broncos. Off this miss, they're going to take the football with this great field position, move it down the field, get in the end zone, tie the game up, and they're not going to look back. I was wrong. The Broncos moved it down the field, but they had to settle for a first-half field goal, ended the first-half field goal by Connor Barth, knocks it home, makes it 14-10. That's the deficit that they face at the halftime breakdown for Indy up. At halftime, I started to see a very ugly trend in this game. First of all, I never in my wildest dreams thought that Andrew Luck would have the same time that we ridiculed Cincinnati for giving him a week ago. We sat here and we berated the Cincinnati Bengals for not getting any pressure, for not generating pressure, for not doing anything to disrupt the timing of the offense of the Indianapolis Colts and allowing Andrew Luck to sit in the pocket, survey the field, go through 3rd and 4th progressions, and find open receivers. We destroyed them last week. And yet, this vaunted pass rush with Von Miller on one side with 14.5 sacks and DeMarcus Ware on the other side with 10 sacks, they couldn't even hold a candle to this Indianapolis Colts offensive line. And remember, I talked about Joe Wrights and him starting in this game for the 2nd consecutive week. I said that right tackle issue is going to loom large. Either one of those guys, DeMarcus Ware or Von Miller, can beat this guy on a consistent basis. They're going to have him have help, or they're going to get beat, and Andrew Luck's going to be in trouble. They didn't sniff him all game. They didn't sniff him. Andrew had time all day long, and he picked those boys apart. Now, he did throw 2 interceptions in this game. They were punts. 3rd and long situations where he just let it rip, threw it 40, 50 yards down the field, and they just turned out to be 39-yard punts. Interception, but there was no return on these interceptions. They were just glorified punts, just via interception. So you don't even pay attention to those. But I just thought that the offensive line did a remarkable job of not only giving him space, but giving him the time to step up in the pocket and give them an opportunity to have a semblance of a run game with Boom Herron and company. So I just thought that the offensive line for the Colts, they were the story of the game. I thought the offensive lines around the league this weekend were outstanding. I mean, you look at what Tom Brady was able to do. You look at what Russell Wilson was able to do. You look at what the Green Bay Packers did in their game and the Cowboys did and what the Colts did in this game. I thought the offensive lines and let that be a message to everybody out there, every fan of a team that has a very suspect offensive line. Look around. Look at who was left standing. Look at the teams that are getting it done and the time that their quarterbacks had in divisional round weekend. Teams with the offensive lines that could provide their quarterbacks with time were the ones that were the most effective in their respective games. Let that be a message to you out there, and take notes. You need a competent offensive line to sustain offense in this league. And Andrew Luck's offense, for the first time in a long time, his offensive line did him some justice And for the second week in a row, he took full advantage of the opportunities that his offensive line gave him in the pocket. And I think that's one of the biggest surprises of this game. I sat here last week and talked about how this team wasn't going to have the same amount of time they had a week ago to pick apart the Cincinnati Bengals. And yet that's exactly what they had in this game. And credit must be given to that offensive line because they were the ones that created that pocket and gave Andrew Luck opportunities to find Hakeem Nicks, T.Y. Hilton, and even other options on the field like a wide open Kobe Fleener over the middle of the field or a Dante Moncrief on a third down critical situation. So they just stepped up, did the offensive line in this game. We go to the third quarter. Colts start the second half with, scoring. They just dominated this game in a way that we didn't see coming. 11 plays, 72 yards, touchdown march, sealed by a 15-yard Hakeem Nicks touchdown grab. And Andrew Luck had so much time on this play, it was ridiculous. I mean, I would have loved to have seen them pull out a stopwatch, put it at the bottom corner of the screen, and let me see how much time he had to go through his reads, give Hakeem Nicks time to re-establish himself in the end zone, come back, find the football, catch it, and score a touchdown. It was a lot of time, and that's what the offensive line did in this game for Andrew Luck, and he took advantage of it. It's 21-10. At this point, I'm becoming very worried. At 14-10, at 14-7, I said, they're not winning this game. At 21-10, I said, the hell is going on here? They're going to win this game. I mean, they dominated, and then we're going to talk about Peyton Manning here in a second. Let's go to the fourth quarter, though. C.J. Anderson with a tough, season-saving 5-yard, 4th-and-1 run to lead to a Connor Barth field goal to make it 21-13. If there was one lone bright spot in the game for the Denver Broncos, it was C.J. Anderson. To me, he was the only guy that came to play football in this game, offense or defense. I thought both sides of the football let the team down. C.J. Anderson came to play. He was a one-man wrecking crew, and he didn't have any help. And it's a shame because Peyton Manning was off. Demaryius Thomas had about 27 drops. Emmanuel Sanders was open, and Peyton just couldn't hit him. Wes Welker was a non-factor once again. Juice had one big play on that first possession and wasn't heard from again. I just thought the offense as a whole was very, very disappointing. But C.J. Anderson showed up as he has done the entire second half of the season. And that was a big run. I mean, literally, as soon as the play started, there was a disruptive force in the backfield, 5 yards in the backfield. I mean, Redding got into the backfield, had a chance at him. He breaks that tackle. Here comes another defender with an opportunity to bring him down. Bjorn Werner, he can't bring him down. Then LeBron Landry probably had the best shot at him. It's still stopping him a yard short of the first down, and he drags him for 5 or 6 yards. And so it was just a hell of an effort by a guy trying to will his team to a victory, and they cut it to a one-score game after that run with the field goal. And then the Colts, this is when I knew these boys are not playing. I mean, you felt like they were still in control even though they were up 8, but I always still said to myself, Peyton's got one more drive in him, and if he has a chance to tie it up, that's what he's going to do. They're going to steal this game from the Colts. Colts can't win here. They can't. They're not supposed to. This isn't the time for the changing of the guards yet. That doesn't happen this year. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. This isn't the year for the changing of the guards. So I said, no way do the Colts still win this game. But this drive right here, wow. This was a game-altering drive. Colts put together a game, this is what I wrote in my notes, a game-altering drive, 13 plays, 54 yards. So they went nowhere, but they took an incredibly long time to do so. 8 minutes and 14 seconds to go 54 yards. Are you kidding me? I mean, they literally, first down, second down, pick up the first down on third down. First down, second down, pick up the first on third down. First down, second down, pick up the first on. They did that 4 times. And on the 4th try, they fell short and had to settle for a field goal. That was a marathon drive, and they ate the clock up. When they were done with that possession, there was only 4 minutes and 6 seconds left in the ball game, and they got the football with over 12 minutes left in the game. If that's not killing the clock, I mean, they literally killed the clock. If that's not killing the clock, I don't know what is. Those boys wanted it more than the Denver Broncos, because that's not supposed to happen. Not in your backyard. You don't let a team come in and absolutely bleed the clock like that. You don't let it happen. But they didn't want to win this game. Denver didn't show up. They showed up like the Colts were supposed to get down and say, all right, man, it's yours. Take it. They thought that Indianapolis was going to bow down to them, and Indianapolis had another thing coming for them. They slapped them in the mouth, man. Get out of here with that nonsense. And so it's 24-13 after the field goal. And C.J. Anderson falls short on a 4th and 6, 4th and 7 catch. Tries to get the first down, falls just short of the markers. Turnover on down, and that was all she wrote right there. They didn't pick that up. Colts able to eat up a little bit more clock. Broncos get it back one time, but it was done. It was already a 2-possession game at that point, down 11. You needed to have something happen on that drive just to give yourself a chance, and they never were able to materialize any kind of offensive efficiency. Let's talk about Peyton Manning, because I was looking for every excuse, as was many of you in the outside world, fans watching the game, the media were looking for excuses. I just couldn't wrap my brain around. This was by far the worst I've ever seen Peyton Manning. And we killed Tom Brady earlier in the season. Remember when Tom was struggling, when they got their asses handed to them by Kansas City on Monday Night Football? I've been talking about Tom looking suspect since last year. Well, Tom's right. He's right at the ship. Tom looks good. He's Tom terrific again. We saw that against Baltimore, down 14 twice in that game. Tom put him on his back, said, let's go. I got y'all. Let's go. We're going to do this. Peyton, on the other hand, he's struggling. I mean, how many guys did he have open, streaking down the sidelines that he just... Is it me? Or is it every time that Peyton throws a deep ball, he looks like he's throwing the football as hard as he humanly possibly can? I mean, literally every time he throws a deep ball, anything over 25, 30 yards, look like Peyton Manning is throwing the football as hard as he can. It looks like he's throwing a Nerf ball and trying to throw it 60 yards. That's what it looked like. Like he's trying to throw a Nerf ball 60 yards in the air, and he is just struggling. And normally, Peyton Manning is one of the most accurate deep ball throwers in the league, and he just couldn't buy a deep ball. The only one that he hit was the one that Juice on the first possession, and that's why I thought, oh yeah, they about to do these boys in, and he never connected again. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders was open at least 3 times in this game. Juice was open another time down the sideline. You had double eight Demaryius Thomas open twice on some deep balls. Peyton was just off. I mean, simple crossing routes. Wes Welker open on the 3rd down. He throws it at his feet behind him. I mean, Peyton was just off. And I was like, is this old? Is this old Peyton? Is this what this is? Is this neck Peyton? Is this thigh Peyton? What is this? Is this tired Peyton? I had a Broncos fan say, he's just tired, man. He just need to hang it up. Is this tired Peyton? We later find out he had a quad injury. Now, I'm hearing conflicting reports. One outlet is saying he had a torn quad against the San Diego Chargers in December. In the game in Denver, he tore his quad then. Then you have another, or it might have been against San Diego, in San Diego, when he injured himself. He tore his quad then. You have someone else saying it was a strained quad. Either way, he did not look good. And if the quad is the problem, then maybe there's hope. But if it's not the quad, could this be the last time we've seen Peyton Manning? That can't be it. No, I refuse to believe that that's the last time we get Peyton Manning, man. That can't be the last chapter of the book of Manning, man. No. He can't go out like that, man. If he's going out and it's a loss, it's got to be against Tom Brady. It's got to be falling on your sword in the AFC Championship game or something like it. Can't be this, man. This was not acceptable. Not for, one of the greatest of all time. And okay. I won't do this many times, but I'm off of the Peyton Manning greatest quarterback of all time. I'm off of it. I'm off. Is he one of the greatest? You damn right he is. Is he the best ever? No, I can't. I got to put Tom in front of him now. I got to, because Tom is still getting it done. And we can't do the whole weapons thing anymore, because Tom doesn't have the weapons that Peyton has, and Tom is still doing it up. No, I can't do it anymore. And so Tom has got a realistic shot at winning another one, and Peyton, he just can't win in the postseason, man. I mean, it is what it is. But this can't be it. I urge, if you're done, you're done. I get it. I mean, what are we on? Year, 16, 17, we up there, whatever it is. I get it. If you're done and you can't do it anymore, he's already said, I don't know what I'm going to do. John Fox is out. We heard about that today, so that could have huge ramifications as far as Peyton Manning coming back again. Who wants to learn a new offense? Who wants to go through all of this stuff again? Because Adam Gase looks like he's going to get a job, the offensive coordinator in Denver. Jack Del Rio looks like he's about to move on his way to Oakland potentially. This whole thing could be just totally different in Denver. And if I'm Peyton Manning, I'm too late in my career to be having all this change around me, man. Look, we pushed all the chips in the middle of the table to try to win now. It didn't work. It might be time for to blow this thing up in Denver. We'll see. We will see, but man, that was not pretty. Give some credit, though, where credit is due. Indy came in and took the fight to Denver and put those boys to sleep in this game. 13 points. When's the last time Denver only were able to muster 13 points? You got to go all the way back to that St. Louis game where the Rams put them to sleep and they only scored 7 points in that game. That's exactly what this Indianapolis Colts team did. They locked up on them, and we know the blueprint to beating the Denver Broncos. We saw it in the Super Bowl, and the Indianapolis Colts repeated that blueprint to a T. I mean, it's a simple rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. They can't handle physicality. You get in their face, you disrupt their timing, you bump them at the line of scrimmage, get them off of their route, and you get in Peyton Manning's face, and they just can't function. We saw it against Seattle. We saw it against St. Louis. We saw it in this game. We saw it against Cincinnati. You get in their face, you challenge them, you get in Peyton Manning's face, they got problems. It happened again. Indy gets it done. They're moving on to the AFC Championship game. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what? We're gonna talk about later on in the week. I don't want to spoil that for you. 24-13, Indianapolis Colts march into Mile High Stadium and march out with an improbable W. Wow. Andrew Luck and company get it done. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gave them a chance. That's going to do it for Denver, Indy. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me later on in the week as we start breaking down these championship games. This is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Bart Scott, can't wait. Enjoy the national championship football tonight. Oregon, Ohio State. That should be a lot of fun. A lot on the line there. Will Marcus Mariota declare for the draft? I think a lot of that rides on him winning a national championship or not. If Ohio State is able to beat them, I think he comes back again, folks. So he could throw a huge monkey wrench in the plans of a lot of NFL teams. We shall see. It's going to be a very interesting game nonetheless. Enjoy all the festivities. I'll be back later on in the week. See you then.